First piece of music that I ever learned was a national anthem, so it's within my blood. So what I'm hoping is that this version of the national anthem becomes a definitive version. I'm just giving it as a gift to every single Indian in India or anywhere else in the world. You can use it for whatever purposes you want. It becomes very, very difficult for an independent musician to make royalties through the current systems because the current systems are skewed towards Bollywood. We have something known as the Ravi Shankar syndrome, what I call in India. You ask anybody on the street who Pandit Ravi Shankar is. Everybody will say Bharat Ratna winner, daughter is Anushka Shankar, greatest sitarist ever, everything. But you ask them to name one album of Pandit Ravi Shankar and he's released over 20 albums. Nobody can name an album. Whereas in America, everybody knows. We need to understand that there's music beyond Bollywood and we need to appreciate our own music.
Ricky Cage, welcome to CNN News 18.
Thank you so much for having me.
Ricky, to celebrate our 76th Independence Day, you have recently recorded with Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in London. This was, of course, the performance of our national anthem that was conducted by you with a massive symphony. Please tell us more about your experience of recording it and when are you planning to release it?
So first of all, the national anthem is my favorite melody in the whole world. In fact, even before I learned any nursery rhymes or lullabies while growing up, the first piece of music that I ever learned was a national anthem. So it's within my blood. It's something that brings me a lot of pride. So I've made various versions of the national anthem in the last 20 years of my career. And I've worked with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in London quite a few times. In fact, both my Grammy award-winning projects have got the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra prominently in it. So I thought that why not conduct a 100-member orchestra, which is the biggest symphony orchestra to have ever recorded our Indian national anthem, and recorded with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra with an Indian person conducting it. So it felt really, really good to actually conduct this massive symphony performing the Indian national anthem at Abbey Road Studios, which is their legendary studio. The engineers and the people over there were saying that, wow, we've never had this many musicians in the room, recording a song. So but at the same time, it gave me a huge sense of pride and humility that I'm able to, because the national anthem is a song that brings our extremely diverse nation together. It is that song that pulls everybody together in spite of political ideologies or, whichever side of the fence you may be on, whatever philosophy you may have, whatever culture, religion you may have. The national anthem really binds our country and it's such an important piece of music. And we will be releasing this on the 14th of August, that is the eve of Independence Day. At 5 p.m.
So the official duration of our national anthem is 52 seconds.
Correct.
What is the duration that you have kept for this?
Correct. We've stayed with the constitutional version of it. So our video is going to be 60 seconds, but the national anthem itself is 52 seconds. And we've got an introduction. So I've composed a new piece of music for about 6 seconds to give people enough time to stand up. So that is why I thought I'll make a 6 second piece, 6 to 7 pieces of music, so that people know that the national anthem is starting and we have to stand up. And then the national anthem is our constitutional version of 52 seconds. Because what I'm hoping is that this version of the national anthem becomes a definitive version. And anybody wants to use it for any kind of event or anybody wants to use it for whatever purposes, they can use it without any royalty, without any need of permission. I'm just giving it as a gift to every single Indian in India or anywhere else in the world. You can use it for whatever purposes you want, as long as you do not make any changes to the music or you don't make any changes to the video. Just use it as it is. You can use it without permission for whatever you want.
And this will be available on your YouTube channel?
It'll be available on my YouTube channel and all my social media channels and other social media channels. We are just, as I said, anybody can post it anywhere they want after it is released. It basically belongs to the nation.
Sure, very nice. Correct to say that you have developed a bond with PM Modi. You met him recently in France and now you'll be performing in Delhi on August 12th for Mission Life. What can we expect from it?
So Prime Minister Modi is actually quite responsible for my career trajectory. I'd met him when I'd won my first Grammy Award in 2015. And it was supposed to be just a 5-minute photo op meeting, but it ended up being an almost hour-long discussion. It was a beautiful meeting that we had. And he is the one who encouraged me to dedicate my life and my music to the sole purpose of environmental consciousness and positive social impact. So after I left his office, I decided very strongly that every piece of music that I make is going to be about our country. It's going to be about environment, nature, and about positive social impact around those areas. So Prime Minister Modi has started this beautiful mission. It is known as the Life Mission, Lifestyles for Environment. It's all about doing away with, our use and throw economy and instead adopting a lifestyle which is better for the environment and better for everyone around us, buying everything with a lot of deliberation and reusing everything that we buy, and not wasting stuff. So it's a beautiful, beautiful mission, and everybody talks about changing the world, but people rarely talk about changing themselves, and that's what this life mission is going to do. So that is why this concert on the 12th of August at City Fort Auditorium, it's going to be a huge concert, amazing musicians from around the world, and we are going to be talking about this, about making individual actions and making changes within our own lives to make this world a better place.
But what type of music does he listen to? Have you discussed music with him as well?
I've discussed music with him, but I'm just happy that he likes my music. So that's good enough for me.
Now, you of course have joined hands again with Stuart Copeland, with whom you have recreated the songs of the famous British band, The Police,
Yeah.
in global languages, including Hindi and Urdu. Please tell us more about it and where this idea came from.
So Stuart Copeland and I have become very close friends now because we've finished off one album. We won 2 Grammy Awards together for that album, Divine Tides. He's almost like an older brother figure to me, maybe even a father figure to me. So it was only natural that we work on more music together. So Stuart Copeland was the drummer and the founder of the band The Police, which is one of the greatest bands in the history of music.
Yes.
Him, Sting and Andy Summers. And they've had some really big hit songs. They've sold 75 million copies of their albums, one of the most successful bands in the world. So what Stuart and I did was that, rather what Stuart did is that he selected his 10 favorite songs of The Police and arranged them for symphony orchestra. And what I did is that I basically made it a global album. So what I did was that I got singers from Africa, from Senegal, from China, from Armenia, from India, from Japan, from all these varied places, got all of these musicians, and we got all these famous police songs like Every Breath You Take and Roxanne and Message in a Bottle sung in different languages so that we reach a wider audience, and also prove that, you know, that music is a universal language. The actual language does not matter, you know, it's the power of the music and the emotion that is the most important thing, and music truly brings the world together.
When can we hear it?
So the album is releasing on the 18th of August. So August is going to be quite an important month, as we discussed. The national anthem video and then the concert for Prime Minister Modi's life mission and the album with Stuart Copeland. So a lot of things are going to be happening in August. And I just finished off a birthday too.
You know, there's a song called Savari Nana from your album Kama Sutra. I love that song. It sounds very fresh, very new. Do you think a song like that deserves to be in a film?
I don't know about deserve or not, but at the same time, you know, I make music for myself. I make music that on topics that I feel strongly about. Every piece of music that I make is a piece of me. I do not wait for somebody else to pay me money to make music or make music based on their sensibilities. So every piece of music is a very important part of me, and it is a part of my mindset. So obviously, if it reaches a bigger audience, no one will be more happier than I am. Because what you're talking about is after the piece is fully finished, then it gets into a film, rather than me trying to compromise on my art, you know, and making changes to a song which is based on a director's ideas or a producer's ideas. So what you said about music supervision is a great idea, that where somebody already listens to a fully finished song of mine that has already been created exactly the way that I want it to be created, and then it goes into a film. Of course, I would be extremely happy if that happens.
Now, you are a 3-time Grammy Award winner. Does that put a lot of pressure each time you deliver or make a soundtrack? Because there are a lot of expectations are there from your work.
So the way that I look at it is that when one wins an award, there are always 2 ways to look at an award. One is vanity, you know, that, yeah, I'm better than everybody else, or, you know, or great, I won this award. And I believe that that's not the way to look at an award. The way that I look at awards is a platform, because all of my music has got a very strong message, whether it's about the environment or social impact or children's rights or refugee rights. So every single song of mine has got a very strong purpose. And for me, these awards are very important because they give me a platform to reach bigger and wider audiences so that I can spread my message and my music further and wider. So that's the way that I look at awards. I do not look at awards as being pressure to do better work and all of that stuff. I look at it as enabling me to do better work.
Now, you have sort of a regular at Grammy Awards, and Recording Academy actually has recently added 3 new categories, including African music performance and Best Alternative Jazz and Best Pop Dance Recording. Do you see any time in future Recording Academy looking towards India and maybe introducing a category dedicated to Indian music?
Absolutely, and the Grammys are talking about it. I know about this as a fact. because Indian music is extremely diverse, because Indian music is an institution within itself. You've got the traditional forms of music, that is the North Indian form of classical music, the South Indian form of classical music. Also, you've got all these tribal music cultures which predate classical music. You know, like tribal music from the Northeast, you've got from North Karnataka, you've got from the Odisha belt, you know, you've got all of this beautiful from Tamil Nadu, you've got all this amazing tribal music. Then you've got folk music forms, like what you have in Rajasthan, Northeast, you've got all these various folk music forms. And then you've got the modern music forms, you've got the independent music forms. So there's a lot actually in India when it comes to music. So, you know, so I guess for the academy, it's always going to be difficult that how do we have one category for that?
Are they considering including?
They're definitely considering it, because so African music, because Africa at the end of the day is not a country, it's a continent.
Yes.
So that is why they went for the African music category. I guess that is what my thoughts are, because it's a continent. Whereas we are as a subcontinent. So my guess would be that this would be the next step for them to actually have an Indian music category.
You know, Ricky, we are a country of 1.4 billion people.
Absolutely.
There are many societies providing royalty to film musicians, songwriters, and singers. What about indie musicians and indie music? What is the revenue model when it comes to for the indie musician?
Currently, the revenue model for indie musicians are only two. That is streaming, which is very, very little. And the second one is live concerts. So live concerts forms a chunk of what independent musicians make when it comes to money. And of course, as you mentioned, if a music supervisor picks up a song and puts it into their movie or their web series, then there is some amount of income over there. But the problem in India is that because Bollywood has got such a huge stronghold when it comes to music, it becomes very, very difficult for an independent musician to make royalties through the current systems, because the current systems are skewed towards Bollywood. Like for example, for me, I've had hotels playing my music on a regular basis in their lobbies, you know, like because I've got a lot of albums which are soft and meditational music. I should ideally be making money on that.
Yes.
But that money basically goes to a particular organization which collects on behalf of all artists, and they do not actually take playlists from the hotels. They just take a chunk of money from the hotels and from establishments that play music, and what they do is that they divide it to the major labels based on radio airplay and television airplay. Now my music does not get television airplay or radio airplay, so whatever money is supposed to come to me actually goes to the Bollywood songs which actually get radio airplay and television airplay.
Aren't you part of those societies?
I am a part of the societies, but the money never reaches me.
Okay, okay. Because there is a talk going on where they now want royalty to be given to musicians for their songs that are being played at weddings.
Yes, yes.
Apart from funding, do you think India needs more venues and festivals supporting indie music? And do you think a support from government can help indie music grow in India?
Absolutely. I think what needs to
and
happen
have a better future, no?
True, because I believe that musicians should be, should be allowed or should have an avenue to create music from the heart, rather than create music that a director or a producer asks them to make. Like for example, if you look at artists like Vincent van Gogh, for example, one of the greatest painter artists ever. If he was making a new painting, I cannot imagine him going to all the neighboring art galleries and seeing what is everybody doing, let me do something similar. He would dig deep into his own soul and make a painting which is based on his own philosophy and his own beliefs. At the same time, if I wanted to know what kind of a person Vincent van Gogh was, I'm not going to read a book about him. I'm going to look at his art and I'm going to judge based on his art. But the problem is that in India, every single song that a musician makes, most songs that musicians make are either an item song or a love song, because that is what goes into films. There are so many things that we can celebrate in India. There are so many topics we can write music about. There are so many avenues that we can focus on when it comes to India. Why aren't people writing music about this? The only reason why people are not writing music about this is that the way that we've built our systems around us when it comes to music is that when somebody wants to become a musician, immediately, automatically, the aspiration is that I need to get into the film industry. And so that is where the problem lies. And if I tell somebody on the street that I'm a composer, the first question they'll ask me is that, which film have you composed music for? So that needs to change.
That's
and
true,
the only way that is going to change is if the government gets involved. The government really needs to get involved. They need to fund venues, they need to fund festivals, and they need to encourage a new generation of musicians who are creating music from the heart.
So then, when you travel abroad, do people come to you and show more interest in your music, or is it still they think that Bollywood music is the only one that comes out of India.
So I believe that Bollywood music is popular all over the world. If a Bollywood musician, a singer or a composer goes to a foreign country and performs in, let's say, New York or New Jersey or San Jose or Moscow or wherever, they get a full audience. They are able to fill up a stadium. But at the same time, every single person in that stadium is somebody from the Indian diaspora. So Bollywood music, even though it's popular all over the world, it's popular only among the Indian diaspora, and it hasn't broken cultural barriers. But when I was 19 years old, I remember I had gone to San Francisco and I watched a concert of Pandit Ravi Shankar.
Yes.
And when I watched the concert of Pandit Ravi Shankar, the people inside the auditorium, what shocked me was that was very representative of the demographic of the city.
Wow.
About 70% of the people inside the audience were people from America, you know, like white people, black people, and the rest were an Asian population and Latin American population. So I was quite shocked that this gentleman has broken cultural barriers and he's not playing Western music.
Wow.
He's playing pure, absolutely pure Indian music, and he's playing a sitar.
Yeah.
So this whole idea that we have,
representing his roots.
and representing his roots, exactly. This whole idea that we have is that, you know, to get Western recognition, we need to sing in English, we need to sing hip hop music, we need to do all of that. That's all nonsense, because this gentleman, and then of course there is Ustad Zakir Hussain, there is Ustad Fazal Qureshi, Anushka Shankar, Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, Hariprasad Chaurasia, you have Pandit Vishwamohan Bhatt, all of these people. If you go to any of their concerts in America, they get a very, very wide audience.
Yes.
And that's what encouraged me also to take that route, that, you know, I want to break cultural barriers. And at the same time, if you look at India, because of India, there's such a strong hold of Bollywood. We have something known as the Ravi Shankar syndrome, what I call in India.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what that is. You ask anybody on the street who Pandit Ravi Shankar is.
Yeah.
Everybody will say Bharat Ratna winner, daughter is Anushka Shankar,
Yes.
greatest sitarist ever, everything.
Yeah.
But you ask them to name one album of Pandit Ravi Shankar, and he's released over 20 albums. Nobody can name an album. You ask them to name one song of Pandit Ravi Shankar. Nobody can name a song of his. You ask them to hum one tune of Pandit Ravi Shankar. Nobody knows. Whereas in America, everybody knows.
Oh.
So that's the thing. In India, we need to understand that there's music beyond Bollywood, and we need to appreciate our own music.
But don't you think that's changing? The newer
is.
audiences are embracing newer sounds and they are more open to listening to, say, Indian classical music. Don't you think that that's changing now?
It's
Especially
absolutely.
because music has become very accessible now.
Yeah.
Courtesy these DSPs.
It is changing, and it's changing slowly. These things come in ebbs and flows. It comes in peaks. Like, for example, in the early 2000s, there was a huge burst with Magna Sound, you know, with all of these independent artists
Yes.
like Anaida, Anamika, Shan, Sagarika,
Rare
Adnan
Nandi.
Sami, Shweta Rao, Sunita Rao. So many independent artists came together, you know, and they made it big. But then after that, again, that whole system died out around 2005, 2006, and it went back to Bollywood.
Yes.
Right now, I'm seeing that there is a upward slope where people are listening to newer sounds, because right now what's happening is that even films also are making films with lesser and lesser songs. So that's why independent artists are coming out. People itself are demanding newer sounds. So I'm hoping that that happens fast enough, and there are more musicians who emerge from this.
Sure. Ricky Cage, many thanks for your time. Best of luck, and looking forward to another Grammy from you.
Thank you so much. And now I hope everybody watches the Anthem on 14th of August. It's something that we created with a lot of love and care, and a gift to the nation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.